Yo, what's up and welcome back to another episode of Puzzle Insider. My name is Greg from Puzzle Wanderer, and today we've got a few interesting topics all about puzzles. The first one is the history of marble run puzzles. It was requested by one of our viewers, Dom. Also, we'll continue the Puzzle Hunter series of the history of mechanical puzzles. This will be part 3 and the last part in this series of Puzzle Hunter. We've got the designer of the month, Core Mods, which is Jared Petersen, and then we'll have a special guest as our creator of the month, Mr. Puzzle, which most of you probably know about. And lastly, we'll talk about the puzzle of the month, Taiji Puzzle by Ai Liu. It's easy to see today's marble puzzles and think, oh, that's cool. There's amazing puzzles available like Perplexus, Intrism, Marble Labyrinth, Inside 3 and many more. But you'd be surprised to know that this kind of puzzles originated in ancient Greece 4,000 years ago. And since then this genre developed further. There's been a lot of versions of the Marble Run puzzle, but one of the most important ones in history is the Pigs in Clover puzzle. It was released in 1889 in the USA and it was a huge hit. Even got talked about on press releases and then it spread to the whole world. So if you look closely into your ancestors' pictures, maybe you'll see one of those puzzles. Just kidding. There's also a recent version of the same puzzle showed by Mr. Puzzle, which uses a liquid that becomes solid once you insert it inside the maze. The first Marble Labyrinth puzzle was actually released in 1946 in Sweden by a company called Brio. And in recent years we're seeing iterations of the same concept in video games, in games like Super Monkey Ball and Marble Madness. It's interesting to see the scope of such things in retrospect, and it makes me wonder what kind of marble puzzles will get released in the next years. Continuing the history of puzzles from the last few episodes. If you missed them, go check out episode 10 and 9 of Puzzle Insider to fill up the gaps. In 1760 we see the first jigsaw puzzle, and it actually started by map makers cutting their maps into small pieces. It was used for study and learning more than entertainment, but in the next years jigsaw puzzles developed into what they are today. 1760. Secret compartments in everything in the Netherlands. It's important to say that puzzle boxes originated much long before that, and secret compartments existed even before. But in 1760 Netherlands was experiencing a craze of secret compartments, which were designed to keep your house from thieves. And every dresser had a secret compartment. Then we started to see puzzle boxes from Japan. That is the beautiful Yoshigi puzzle boxes you see from Japan. They originated in the end of the Edo period in Japan, where samurai still walked the streets. And for the Japanese, these puzzle boxes are not just entertainment, but rather traditional works of art. Then we've got the Tower of Hanoi puzzle, which is a classic nowadays, and it was designed by a French mathematician in 1883. This puzzle was also actually featured on Planet of the Apes, Star Wars and Doctor Who. That's a trivia I didn't know about. 1865, the pyramid puzzle that was cut from 3 branches, a very simple puzzle which is part of American history. In 1894, we see the Klotsky puzzle, which is a sliding block puzzle where your goal is to move a big piece from one side to another inside the frame with other moving pieces. It was patented by Henry Watson. We're seeing a lot of those today actually, and they're widely available and pretty entertaining. 1930, we're seeing kumiki puzzles that are rooted in Japanese minimalism. I was surprised to discover that these puzzles are based on a Japanese house building craft that allows wooden houses to stay stable even under extreme conditions. In 1933, the Soma Cube was invented on a lecture in quantum mechanics. The Soma Cube then became a basis for a lot of puzzles to be evolved from the same concept. 1974, that's the biggest puzzle of all time, the Rubik's Cube, that was invented by the world famous Erno Rubik, with around 400 million sales worldwide of only the Rubik's Cube. And also don't forget that there's a lot of other versions of the Rubik's Cube nowadays for cubers. In the last years, cubing became its own niche, a part of puzzles. Of course, I still consider Rubik's Cubes as puzzles, but the way of solving a Rubik's Cube is more for speed cubing nowadays than solving a puzzle, like we do with mechanical puzzles. And the last one in the history of puzzles that is a major invention is the Pyraminx from 1981. A sequential movement puzzle similar to the Rubik's Cube but in a different shape and with slightly different mechanisms. It was invented by Meffert that later became one of the biggest twisty puzzle inventors of all time. And that's it for the history of puzzles. That was part 3. We're sealing the deal, and if you guys want me to elaborate about any of these puzzles I was talking about in the series, please let me know in the comments and I'll make an article especially for you. And let's move on to the puzzle designer of the month, Cormods. Cormods is a very talented puzzle designer that designs 3D printed puzzles. His puzzles are extremely underpriced, and that's my own opinion, and range between very interesting concepts. Please tell me about yourself in a few sentences. I'm Jared, sole proprietor of Cormods. I'm a puzzle designer, digital musician, graphic designer, and aspiring programmer. When did you start puzzling? I had a Metal 15 puzzle when I was younger. That was my first real attempt to figure out a puzzle. But I didn't get deep into puzzling until I learned how to solve my Rubik's Cube several years later. Then Cormods became a twisty puzzle collector. Later on he started designing modifications for twisty puzzles, which were the first products that he put on his website. Your favorite puzzle? I'm a bit biased towards 3D printed puzzles, but I love bolt action. It's the kind of puzzle that I enjoy immensely and also closely matches my puzzle design philosophy. What inspired you to design your first puzzle? I started out making twisty puzzle modifications, but I got into my first real designs with the unstable eggs. I had recently gotten a 3D printer and had a simple idea for the first unstable egg. I considered it more of a trick than a puzzle, but when I showed it off, some interested puzzlers asked if I'd make them a copy. From there, the idea of stuffing a half dozen different designs into an egg carton sounded so thematically appealing that I decided I had to give it a shot. And I like how the puzzle originated from not being a puzzle but rather just a simple toy. How would you describe your own puzzle design style? I design puzzles that I like to solve myself. I also like to make sure my puzzles have a decent theme or aesthetic whenever possible. Since plastic puzzles tend to feel cheaper than wood or metal, I really like my puzzles to be visually striking as well as fun. Then I asked Cormods to provide us with some sneak peeks and future plans, and that's what he said. I'm looking forward to following up the success of Icebox with some more puzzle designs in the same genre, which is sequential discovery. I'm also tentatively planning some collaborations with a couple of other designers. I want to finish some of the ideas I've started but didn't previously have the time to polish and finish, which includes a possible symmetry puzzle and a few slide-in packing puzzles with interesting central concepts. He's also designing a new priceless puzzle and possibly a new puzzle for the reactor puzzle set. Thank you very much, Jared, and let's move on to the creator of the month. This month I brought you one of the most famous puzzle YouTubers in the entire world. He was one of the pioneers of puzzles on YouTube. Actually, his channel is almost 1 million subscribers, and that is Mr. Puzzle. A lot of puzzlers started puzzling thanks to his videos, so I just had to interview him and see what he has to say about the whole world of puzzling. First video Mr. Puzzle uploaded was the cast padlock puzzle, which he was fascinated with. He uploaded the video and forgot about it. 8 months later, he noticed that the video got a lot of traction, around 3,000 views, which motivated him enough to start making more content, and the rest is history. How would you describe your own channel? On my channel, the focus is on the specific puzzle. No tam-tam, no bling-bling. Only the puzzle and how it works is in focus. Mr. Puzzle likes to elaborate on the mechanisms of the puzzle, and as an engineer, he really likes to go down to details. Who is your favorite puzzle YouTuber? I have to admit I rarely watch puzzle videos because I do not want to get spoiled. What is your inspiration for videos? I'm just recording my solving process and setting it to a suitable length. I'm trying to deliver part of the experience to the viewers and make them understand my thought process. What's your most loved and most hated puzzle? Mr. Puzzle doesn't specify a specific puzzle, but he says he loves puzzles that are clever and surprising. It can be any kind of puzzle, the satisfaction makes the difference. Who would you recommend puzzle solving to? As Mr. Puzzle says, anyone can be infected, it just must be the right puzzle. Thank you very much, Mr. Puzzle, for the interview, and let's move on to the puzzle of the month. This month's puzzle is called the Taiji puzzle, also called the 69 or the Yin Yang puzzle by Ai Liu. This puzzle has a lot of rumors going on about it. Most people don't know that Ai Liu is the one that designed it. Also, an interesting fact is that Otis Cheng is another designer that took part in the design process of this puzzle. This puzzle was featured on the 2015 IPP, which is the International Puzzle Party, in the puzzle design competition, and got a jury honorable mention in the competition. Another interesting fact, one of the major players in the release of this puzzle was none other than the world-renowned Will Stribos. He helped make the prototype of this puzzle into a suitable puzzle for mass production, which explains why this puzzle is so well made. I've solved this puzzle recently myself, and I thought about giving you a quick review about this puzzle as I did with the Pachinko a few episodes before this one. The Taiji puzzle is very fun in your hands, it feels very good, it's heavy, it has a lot of things going on and it's pretty confusing. But the more you play with it, the more you handle it, you start to discover interesting hidden mechanisms and stuff you didn't see before. I can say for sure that this puzzle is a bit more complex than the regular things you'll see from metal puzzles, but it's also very sleek, minimalistic, good looking, and the movements are incredible. I think I personally solved it with a bit of luck, but reassembling it is a fun process which can take you a while. But seeing this puzzle disassemble is a very unexpected experience, and I believe the mechanism is what makes this puzzle so special. And that's it for today's Puzzle Insider video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I'd really appreciate your likes, comments, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment with requests of articles you'd like to see on future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.